Aegis threw that headshot there, so the res pressure still went off, and Shad will go down.
But
hold on, yeah, Ventari's low, but now Sizer's so low though. Sizer getting the heal off. Will Ventari go down? Ventari will go down, and Shad gets himself back up into play now. Sizer's low, and he takes Sizer down. Oh my goodness.
Either 30 seconds, they're really trying to push in. They still have that one cap in their favor as well, but CM is just completely over them at this point. Let's see again.
18 seconds
pushing it, super throwing down the fire field here at the moment. They're trying their best to focus the Lord. 10 seconds left in the game. The Lord's at about 80% health. They're just really trying. 60, 40, 5 seconds. Here we go.
If they get this,
health.
it's possible. They might get this, Blue.
Oh my goodness, are they gonna
no! Yes, they got it!
Hello everybody, what is going on? My name is Blue and welcome to the Mistpedia Weekly. Welcome everybody to the Mistpedia Weekly Conquest Tournament. I'm going to be your host for this evening. I do not have anyone joining me. It's my own decision. Did have an offer, but turned it down. It's a little bit rough to run streams with people, so I want to be running things solo tonight just so I can keep it simple. But we will probably be starting to add more guests to the repertoire starting next week, so look forward to that sort of stuff. But we do have 5 teams tonight in this week's Cup, and going over those teams very quickly. 1 second. My screens are in odd positions. Here we go. We have Blacklisted. The new roster for Blacklisted, actually, is going to be Mila Storm, Steb, Irantian, Spoon Girl, and Hans Bigums will be on that team tonight. We're going to be having Outplayed by Belief, which is Wakey, Kolja, Hiba, Zombify, and Nas will be playing for that team. Mime is actually Mime. Will be Stalagta, Forlorn Aegis, Mime, Chimp Daddy, and Ugg. We'll be having Celestials will be in our first game tonight. Heian, Wraithen, Prayer Helps, Alejandro. Apologies again if I'm butchering any of these names. And P Warrior will be on that team. And then last but not least, we have our last minute entry to the tournament tonight. My PvPness is huge with Kizos, AK, Hitsui, Tesla, and Rin, guys. So let's not waste any more time. You probably saw the map selection going on there while we were waiting for the game to begin, but if you did not, going into the game now, you can see that our first map is going to be on the Temple of the Silent Storm. Following that, we're going to head over to Legacy the Foe Fire. By the way, Celestials did get the first pick, which means the first and third map choices are theirs, but for our other team, my PvPness is they got to pick the second map as well as the color choice. So again, Celestials ended up picking the first map for Temple of the Silent Storm. Second map, once again, being the choice of my PvPness is huge. They want to go over to Legacy, and then the third map, once again, if it is required, will be on the Battle of Kylo as another choice by Celestial. So again, really quickly going over the builds here, we can check out Heon Reth, first of all, playing on Engineer with double turrets as well as an Elixir-esque rifle with Barbarian and Runes of the Fighter, Digital Force and Purity, running with 600, probably 60440. Tim Stoneheart playing Warrior. Looks like it is going to be Hambo, putting that 2 points in his strength instead of tactics there in order to get the dual-wielding trait right there. And actually, apologies, not going to be Hambo here, just want to correct myself with that. He's actually running Axe, Offhand Sword with Sigil of Air, and Sigil of Intelligence, Sigil of Battle, and Energy will be on the Longbow set with a Valkyrie's Amulet and Runes of Strength. 1 second. As well, moving on from that, the second Engineer on the blue side is going to be running with Pistol and an Offhand Shield here, Sigils of Purity and Generosity, in addition to Runes of the Balefire and a Barbarian with the traits being 04640. Alishaba, apologies once again for butchering these names if I am doing so. Alishaba Alois over here is going to be playing Guardian. We'll be playing 01661. Pretty standard, the trait set actually is pretty standard for what would appear to be a Bunker Guardian build, but as you can see, he's actually running Monk's Focus, so looks like it is going to be a Meditation Bunker Guardian here. Still running with Celestial, and it's Runes of the Flock as well. Very interesting choices indeed. We'll have to see how that pans out. And then last but not least, Amana Lamora on a Necromancer here is going, and I think actually if I remember these guys from last week, he's actually going to be their bunker. He's running with Knight's Amulet, as well as Runes of the Ranger, with a Staff, Dagger with an Offhand Warhorn, Sigil of Force and Accuracy, along with Sigil of Intelligence and Chilling. That about wraps it up for builds, guys, so really quickly, just want to make sure we don't have any Assurance, and we don't. So, we're going to get started right away, guys. Let us go into the first game. It's best of threes. First team to 2 points will move on. and we'll go over the red team builds when we get to game 2. So let's see, guys, who's going to take round 1. My PvPness is huge, or Celestial. Just waiting for the ready ups, and as soon as our teams are ready, we shall get started. Now, once again, for those who aren't aware of the mechanics behind this map, it is, as with all Guild Wars 2 Conquest maps, a 3-point capture map with 1 point being located close to each team's base, that being the temple for the red team and the altar for the blue team, and a centralized point that each team is equidistant to from their spawns. But this map has a very large focus on its secondary objective. We have the buffs coming into play on this map. The 2 buffs that will spawn here as well as over here are going to be the buffs that increase the value of your kills, and they do stack. There are 2 of them on the map that spawn at the same exact time. They do stack, and each one that you do have under your control will increase the value of kills, which are normally worth 5 points, by 3 points. You can get that up to a total of 8 or 11 points, depending on how many of those buffs you have. You also have the buff that'll spawn at the top in the middle right here. That buff will spawn at 11:30, 8:30, 5:30, and 2:30. That buff, when triggered, will double the value of your capture points. If you have 1 capture point, you'll be taking 2 points every 2 seconds, 2 capture points, 4 points every 2 seconds, and so on and so forth. And then last but not least, we have the buff in the bottom cave that'll spawn at 8:30 and 2:30 on the above timer right over here. And when you do capture that buff, it'll flip all 3 of the points into your team's favor, in addition to knocking any enemies off the point and chilling them for a short duration. As you can tell, guys, the game has already begun. We are going to see stealth coming out here from the red team. My PvPness' blue team, specifically one of the blue team engineers over here. Roth is going to make a bit of a forward push in order to stop anyone from aggressing too heavily. He did actually end up falling down there. It looks like he may actually try to sneak around over here to go for their home, though, but that is not going to be the case, and is instead going over here to Rinki Zamora. Probably going to be able to knock him down, and there you go. Nicely done. Chucking him down right into the middle fight there. Going to screw up the nade toss that he was just doing over there. Unfortunately, in the process of that, we did actually see Alicia Balalois going into the downstate once again. This is the, once again, that I believe was a cleric's, meditation guardian actually ended up going down first here, and he was obviously the first one to get knocked out. Raw Steelmane also going to get taken down right here as well, so red team looking very strong at the initial start of the middle fights that are happening here. Going over to AK once again, seeing how he's hanging out, mainly going for some damage over here on a Tim Stoneheart, and again AK playing with a staff elementalist at the moment. Now, if I know AK, this is a Zerker staff, so let's double check. 66002, yep, and yep, I was right. So, AK running definitely the squishiest and burstiest ability you could possibly find with that Zerker's Amulet, Runes of the Scholar, Staff, Sigils of Air, and Fire, in addition to the full 6 points into Fire and Air, and only 2 points into Arcana, which, again, full 6 points into Fire Magic is a very rare thing to see, indeed, but it's good to see it coming out here into play tonight. Going back over there into the fight, though, we can see that blue team, again, after losing that initial mid-fight, coming out of their spawn, looks like they may try to make a push across the way over here to the red team. Now, they did run into Kizasawan, who's kind of doing forward defense here at the moment, but that's not going to stop them. They are pushing through. You can see that the pet is actually, I think, causing them quite a bit of trouble, as Kizas is kind of just waiting here and letting his pet do a lot of the work. We're still going to see Ross Steelmane go up around the side and the back. Obviously, Kizas will be able to beat him to the point and probably harass him along the way. But again, the slow movement that we're seeing here from the blue team is obviously going to buy our red team quite a bit of time here, and they should be able to get to the point and defend that rather easily. Now, it really comes down to how well the blue team will be able to rotate to this. As again, red team may be overcompensating to that rotation, just thinking that this team will be bringing out more simple strategies, considering that they are a newer team. So blue team can kind of play that mind game with them. They may be able to over-rotate over here, or rather rotate more heavily over here to the gate point and try to take that one away. But it is a 2v2 at the moment. Unfortunately, the blue team not doing so hot. Dawes Han is going to come in here, try to get the stomp off onto the blue team member, Tim Stoneheart, who just went into the downstate. We will see Alicia Balalois coming in here, trying to get the res off here, and he should be able to do that rather easily. In fact, he does do that without any issues whatsoever, bringing him right back up indeed. Tim Stoneheart going to try to support more teammates, but again, the NG has taken far too much damage. He is going to end up going into the downstate here right now. Stomp will come in there for Rinki Zamora with Elixir S, pretty much guaranteeing that it does go off, as Tim Stoneheart had gotten on the body rather late into the fight. So again, our red team looking very strong over here in the gate point. We did just see Dawson get hit with that Eviscerate there, but again, not going to matter too much. Had to seal up and ready to go along with other cooldowns, so he'll be able to regenerate himself, and he's surrounded by plenty enough teammates. There's 4 members of the red team just chilling here at the moment in order to secure the point and make sure that he himself does not end up falling into the downstate. And as you can see there again, fight being ended very quickly with Tim Stoneheart getting knocked out. Heavy condies as well as that bit of burst coming in there for the staff elements is going to make quick work of Tim Stoneheart, knock him out, and again force the blue team to fall back. Going back up top, we do have the buff 10 seconds. As you can tell, we are at the 11:40 mark. First buff spawn, first major buff spawn that is, happens at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So in 5 seconds, that first buff will appear. I mean, we'll have that bit of a brawl for blue team again. Very heavily does need this buff here at the moment, as because if you look at how far they're behind, they do need something to either A, sort of stalemate the lead that their opponents have, or B, turn the tide against them. But unfortunately, not doing too hot here at the moment. Once again, Amaya Lamora not hanging out so well. Does have a lot of crap going on her at the moment. She's going to find herself in the downstate as the red team moves in for the kill right now, specifically Kizos coming in to get the stomp off on that and should be able to execute. But no, actually gets feared away there. We had a crate going down too, so the double interrupts going off there on Kizos. But if an overcompensation, keep that in mind, is he had the stun, and the fear actually overrides the stun and then fears him away from that. So kind of an override, kind of a bad thing in that regard. But still, managed to keep him up the corpse. We do see Tim Stoneheart once again coming in for the res. You will note he has the Berserker sense, but a little effect that he has, a little steam or, you know, the brown smoke coming off him there. But they'll get him back up into play. Ross Steelmane is still down, and keep in mind too that the other engineer, Heron Wen, actually went down over here in mid and attempt to take it back. Good job by Rinkies Moore in defending that over there at middle. And as these two continue on for the brawl, we actually do have to mention that the Bread team, my PvPness is huge, did take the full control of that middle buff once again. But good eviscerate coming out there from Tim Stoneheart. We'll be able to get Kizos down. Unfortunately, I believe we did see another kill going off onto a blue team member, either Ross Steelmane or at least Lois did end up going down, and once again got Kizos back and played that. The Spirit also may have res him, but I didn't actually see the Spirit doing an active door. Obviously didn't die, so I do believe that was actually a death from the blue team side that got him back up into play. So again, our blue team with that double cap, you can see, really starting to run away with this game here at the moment. An additional 200 point boost they have here now against their opponents, with the scores being 381 to 138 points that the blue team has under their belt here at the moment. Obviously, looking heavily in the favor of the red team, and I am just not sure that our blue team will be able to come back here so far in this game. But they are not giving up just yet. Going to apply a little bit more pressure here over to the middle, and as well try to get themselves back in the game. But the red team is just on an onslaught here, backing out targets left and right. On and on, they take them down. Ross Steelmane goes down. We see Heron Wen in the downstate, and again, red team just absolutely decimating their opponents here at the moment. Even taking a triple cap as they finally move in over there to take back a blue team home node now, as they had as they had allowed them to keep that for such a long time. Back over here once again at that blue team opponent, Amaya Lamora will once again go in and recapture that. No contestation will come into play, as again red team playing it fairly safe with just a pretty solid 2-cap strategy. Not going to take a risk on needing to go for that 3rd capture point. I think they snuck in there and got a lucky break with the decap had there been contention. Pretty sure they would have just pulled out of there and allowed them to keep it, as again, but considering how safe of a lead they have right now, don't really want to risk that. But at this point in the game, once again, they do have this game pretty much in the bag at the 470 point mark. There's not much our blue team could do, so congratulations to our red team. They are going to take round 1, and they went out just one more game away from moving on to a spot in the semifinals and eliminating Celestials from tonight's tournament. Our next map is going to be on Battle's the 3rd map actually. So our next match is going to end up being on Legacy of the Faux Fire, and there's the end game right there. Congrats to the red team. And you can really, again, see a very huge difference in the point spread here. Obviously, again, our red team taking huge marks for decaps as well as team fighting in general here, whereas our blue team struggling to even get over 50 personal score on any of their players. Very unfortunate indeed. But again, our next map, we do see a lot of upsets and turnarounds, so we wouldn't count them out just yet. Our red team does, obviously, once again, have a very strong advantage, though, going into game 2, but it's not out of it just yet, as we do have the very game-changing secondary mechanic that comes into play on Legacy as well, which can really flip around a team score, but it can also end up being their doom if they're not careful. The Lord kill is obviously what we are talking about, worth a total of 150 points. We saw it happen earlier today at the ESL Weekly Cup, where both teams ended up rushing for Lord, and then again, it just... one team was able to make very quick work of it due to the burst they had available, and another team that ended up making a predictable push ended up having that defended because of A, the predictability behind it, and B, just did not have the damage to do so. So we do have that come into play. We're going to have to wait and see if blue team can pull it off. But before we get directly into that game, just letting the teams... probably just telling the teams to go as soon as they're ready. We're going to check out red team builds really quickly. We are still waiting for some of them to actually join up on teams, but we're getting them in right now, so give me just a second, guys. First of all, taking a look at the ones we do actually have in game. Dazhan specifically, first of all, is running with 00464 at the moment in his trait split here. Going over to the equipment, he's running it with a staff, mace, offhand focus, along with a cleric's amulet and runes of the soldier with sigils of intelligence and energy on both of his weapon sets. The trait split's interesting to say the least. He does have those couple points going into Valor. Pure Voice is, I mean, generally the split is a bit interesting because, again, we would usually see full points going into either Valor for AH or going into Virtues for that major trait there, or the secondary, or another secondary trait from this line too. But he has not opted to do that here. He's actually opted to put the traits into, what is this, Valor? Yeah, into Valor in order to get Mace of Justice, which again is a very good trait in my opinion. It'll increase your healing potency by quite a bit indeed. But Pure Voice as well will be a very good team supported trait, as it will obviously once again having his allies affected by shouts converting those conditions to boons is going to be very helpful indeed in a team fight scenarios, and as he is running with double shouts, he will have 2 opportunities to do that. Kind of pointing out the obvious here, but still, new players may not be aware of those sorts of things. Moving on to Rin Kizomura here, playing Engie for this team. Fairly standard Condi build, in all honesty. 6-2-0-4-2. This comes back to splits we've been seeing pre-patch. You know, we've been seeing this split for quite some time, and it's pretty much a staple in the Engie repertoire. Haven't been seeing it as much since the patch, just because Celestial Rifle Engie on NA has become very popular indeed. So we haven't seen much of it since the patch, but it still does make those it does still make those rare appearances, and that is going to appear once again here tonight. Running with the pistol and shield, along with Sigil of Generosity and Energy, making use of Runes of Balthazar and a Rabbit Amulet, with the traits once again being 6-2-0-4-2, making use of a Grenade Kit, Bomb Kit, Elixir S, Supply Crate, and Healing Turret. Moving on to that, Kizos will be playing a fairly standard Spear Ranger build, running with 6-6-0-0-2. He does have a great sword on at the moment, but he will probably, actually, he may be switching to his power build right now, looking back at that first game. He was playing a Ranger build, or a Spear Ranger build in the last game, but he may switch out to power now, I think, just because of how that last game went. Running it again with a longbow now, and greatsword. Zerker's Amulet, obviously, with Runes of Strength, Sigil of Air and Fire on the longbow, as well as Sigil of Battle and Intelligence on the greatsword there. Traits once again being full 6 points into Marksmanship and Skirmishing, with 2 points into Beast Mastery. AK, moving on to him with that staff, Zerker. We actually, technically speaking, already went over this build, but we'll take a look at it one more time. 6-6-0-0-2 with Zerker's Amulet and Scholar Runes, running with the Sigil of Air and Fire along with the staff. Very easy to kill, but does crazy damage if you're not careful with it. Again, the staff, in general, the AoE is horrendous, and when I say horrendous, I mean that in a good way for the player playing it, but horrendous for the people up against it, because it just does huge amounts of damage indeed, especially the 5th skill on Fire Attunement will 1 or 2 shot people if they're not being careful and watching out for that. So, and it has been used, obviously, to pretty good effectiveness here tonight. Moving on from that, the last player on the red team, Hatui, playing Necromancer. Does appear to be a pretty good team fight Condi build here, running again with Staff, Scepter, Offhand Dagger, running with Sigils of Energy and Generosity, Sigil of Energy and Corruption on the Staff set, running it again with the Runes of Balthazar and a Rabbit Amulet. Moving over to the traits again, still actually running Doomfire. A lot of Necromancers have actually switched off of that and gone to the full 6 points into Curses, and then again, you really, from what I've been told by a lot of Necromancers, they don't. Well, just in general, it's just generally perceived knowledge, is that you don't really want to go up this year unless you're taking Doomfire, because there's not that many good traits in the Spite tree. Like, there's a couple good ones, you know, like I said, this one's pretty good, Chill of Death is a really good trait, but beyond that, a lot of people tend to avoid the Spite tree, and that has happened. There's been a shift where we've seen a lot of Necromancers. When we do see them, it is, granted, Necromancers have become kind of a rare occurrence. They're pretty low point of the player base to begin with, but we have seen a lot of them switching to going down the Curses line, and then they put the other 4 points either into Death Magic or Blood Magic, actually, instead of putting them into Spite there, which obviously makes them a lot more defensive at the same time and can allow them to still do pretty potent Condi damage, as well as having the Path of Corruption to be a real pest to his opponents. Other than that, though, again, with Rabbit Amulet, we'll still put out a very decent amount of Condi damage in Epidemic, especially on this map for whatever reason. Just because of the elongated team fights in general, Epidemic makes huge waves in this match, so we'll probably see that coming in quite a bit. But that about wraps it up for builds, guys. I believe AK has someone at his door or something, as I've been told. So as soon as they are actually ready to go, we will be getting started with the second game here, guys. Once again, my PvPness is huge, is up 1-0, so if they do manage to take this one into 2-0, obviously, again, that'll end the set right there and move us on to the second game, or probably the second set, which will actually be the winner of this, taking on, just double checking my brackets real quick, taking on Blacklisted again, which is the new roster for Blacklisted, not the old one from months ago. If anybody does remember that old roster, it is Storm, Steb, Uranti, and Spoon Girl, and Hans Bigums will be playing on that roster. Once again, I know, guys, the thingy is blocking the kill feed. Give me 1 second. I will move that right now. Ready? Whoa, look at this. Magic. There we go. I fix. Alright, that is fixed now. So once again, AK got kicked out of the server. So once again, we're just waiting for him to rejoin, and then we shall get started with our next match. Just as a reminder, once again, guys, those of you just joining us, this is a weekly cup with open signups. Anyone is welcome to participate. Just go ahead and get yourself a toss together of 5 different players and head over to our signups over on Battlefy. Just sign right up, and as well, make sure you sign in with the 30-minute mark beforehand, so we know you are going to be playing. But it is an open cup. Anyone's welcome to participate. We have 2K first place prizes, 2K gem card first place prizes for everybody on the winning team, and 800 gem card prizes for anybody on the second place team as well. So make it to the finals and you get yourself some guaranteed gems. Also have the 2v2 and 3v3 cups that happen on every Tuesday and Wednesday. Those happen at 2 p.m. And again, some of these are hosted by ESL. That also happen at 2 p.m. my time, which is Eastern time, or 20 Central European for the EU players, and 8 p.m. my time, Eastern time, or 5 p.m. Pacific for the North American Cups on both of those days. Tuesday, once again, being the 2v2 Cup, and Wednesday being the 3v3 Cup. AK is now back, guys, though, so I think we're going to get started in just a second. Just waiting on Rin's radio. And as soon as he is good, and there we go, guys. We are getting started now with Game 2 between My PvPness is Huge and Celestials. So let us get right into it and see who's going to be winning. Once again, we are on the legacy of the foe fight here, guys. So with the gates opening up in 3 seconds, once again, My PvPness is Huge spawning on the south side of the map over here on the red team, and Celestial is spawning on the north side of the map over here on the blue team. People coming out of the gates here right now. Looks like we are going to see red team pushing 3 of their players into the middle point. Heavy team fight emphasis D, but they will actually what appears to be stealthing up over here. And yep, you can hear the smoke bomb going off behind me. You will hear them stealthing up over here, so they are going to get kind of a late entry into the team fight. We're also going to be seeing back over here at the, what is this, the quarry, actually. We're going to be seeing AK actually putting some pretty heavy offensiveness over here on Tim Stoneheart once again, who may actually not be able to get away from AK. It's definitely going to hurt. Yep, you can see her once again, Staffley doing some pretty serious damage over here to a warrior at the moment. Hasn't knocked him out just yet. Does get that stun off though, and there you go, knocks him into the downstate. And we've already got another player in the downstate over here too. And note that as well, good movement coming in here from the red team as they move AK directly off that body. Kizos, they knew he was coming up right behind him there, stomped him right out of there, and then AK moved in to support the team fight and to support his own teammates as well. Once again, already 3 targets down on the side of Celestials, while red team making an excellent job over here at the graveyard point, already looking to maybe take a very early cap on it, which will give them a very huge advantage indeed. And again, no wasted time whatsoever. Seeing Kizos instantly move over here to the waterfall, and he should be able to take that node without any trouble whatsoever. Staffley, again, made the huge difference there. Taking a look once again at AK, you saw that the lava font that ended up going down, I believe, over one of the blue team corpses, just absolutely decimated the majority of the blue team player base there. Took out 2, I believe, almost 3 players at once with a singular lava font. So very huge play there indeed. Our blue team, that's honestly one of their biggest mistakes, is not trying to focus this guy down. If they knock him out of play, that would be a very large amount of damage negated from the fight, but they do not seem to be focusing him at all, and I think that's one of the key differences here that is being brought into the team fights. But again, obviously, the game has just begun, so we're going to have to wait and see. 83 points to 23 points with our red team having a 3 cap here. Definitely looking very good for the red team here at the moment, and as well, once again, red team just locking down targets on Maya. And this is another issue too. I've noticed this with this is just in general a thing I noticed with basically a lot of new teams, is that again, this is mainly because of the fact that they probably haven't been, you know, PvPing for that for so long. When they're going up against players like AK, like Kizos, like Tui, like all the other ones in here that have been in the scene for quite some time and have been PvPing, you know, ever since some of them the game was launched. They obviously know, you know, the rotationary strategies. They know how to work together as a unit, whereas you see a lot of other guys like this coming into the scene or just getting together as a team. They're still kind of learning, you know, how to work together as a group. They're still learning rotationary strategies. They're still learning, you know, how to get their comps together and all that sort of stuff. And as well, some of them are just in this for some good fun. So that is coming into play pretty heavily here, as you can see them. Unfortunately, like I said, sometimes, even though we do randomize the seasons now, there is some times where we see new teams getting patched up directly against, you know, where we see them getting patched up against teams such as this. So it's somewhat unfortunate, but they're definitely giving it a good shot, like you saw there. We had some pretty good team fights happening in the last game. But at the moment, our red team once again is scoring a 3 cap here. Alicia and Lois will get taken down right over here outside of the waterfall point, securing that 3 cap once again. Blue team, as we open up the big map here for just a second, you will see they're going to try to sneak through this chokehold point over here and head over to the quarry. They should be able to get past the Guardian as well. Actually, it looks like he just managed to intercept them. Dazhan, this is we're talking about here at the moment. Yeah, just managed to intercept the 2, so he is going to be able to hold him off here at the chokehold. But let me put the Pokeball down there too, and that was actually a pretty nice, nicely done job there by Dazhan, as it did pretty much deny them any further movement and allowed Ren Kizumura to get himself over here in order to block the way and make sure they could hold this off on an even 2v2. And again, considering the last of these fights, considering the last few fights at least, more than likely our red team should be able to hold on to this. And that third player going to come in here, Tui specifically, will come in here and make the huge amount of difference really needed in order to secure this for the red team. Heron Wrath will end up going down, and we've got another red team player coming in, AK. We should be able now in a 4v1 to make very quick work of raw steelman. But again, like I was saying earlier, our blue team, again, one of the biggest issues I've noticed is that they're really not going together in huge groups. They're kind of going one by one into these points. They're not really making any organized pushes for other nodes, and that's probably, again, one of the largest issues we can make about this team at the moment. If they did try to get themselves together a lot more, try to make more organized pushes, and granted, it's not always a good thing that you have to regroup as an entire unit and go pushing, because like I've talked about before, that does leave you incredibly vulnerable in the fact that your team is, the opponent team is obviously going to notice you're doing that. It's almost impossible to try and do a full regroup without your team catching on to it, unless you're an extremely skilled and extremely mobile team. It's really impossible to do that without noticing, without your opponents noticing you. It obviously allows you to get together as a whole unit and make that very strong push, but your opponents are basically going to know exactly what you're doing, so basically you force a full 5v5 team fight for that, but it could lead to other things like backcaps and whatnot, because again, most of the time your opponent will be forced into that full 5v5 due to those matches there. But moving on from that, back over here at the waterfall, we can see that we have this fight going on over here. Blue team getting a bit low here once again, so our red team should be able to... Sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry guys, 1 second. Somebody just walked into the room there trying to ask me something. I'll settle that in a minute. But back into the game itself once again, we can see that the blue team is actually making a pretty decent pull over here at the waterfall. They've managed to, again, seclude their opponents by quite a bit. You can see them get pushed off node. You still got AK free casting over here, which again is a very large issue. They have managed to correct that now. Unfortunately, Alois went down in the process of that. We've also got a Maya Lamora down there, but they did get the Guardian back up. Good Eviscerate coming off there onto AK2. Really going to force him off the point here once again and really just get him out of fight, so it'll give the blue team a lot more leeway in the rest of these fights. So once again, though, we're looking at the score here. Our red team being up at the moment with 2 capture points, possibly getting the 3rd there, but once again, blue team holding strong at their own home. Dizhan gonna be able to knock him out there, and as well leaving only Kizos here to defend on a Power Ranger build. This point may actually fall under blue team control in a second. Good job from Kizos, though, actually knocking out Alois over here. You will note, actually, well, I just missed that too, that AK coming in, and you can see how much damage these huge AoEs are doing here with the 5th AoE coming in from Fire to mid there. It's just doing so much damage, and it's very hard to dodge it, considering the projectiles hit random spots there too. So guys, again, looking at the scores here, we did actually see a decap in middle, but it's very hard, if not impossible now, for our red team to come back into play here, or apologies, for our blue team to come back into play here. So I do believe we are going to be seeing that 2-0, and with that said, my PvPness is huge, should be able to move on to the next round, where they are going to take on Blacklisted in just a few moments. We are just obviously waiting for the game to end, but I think it is safe to call this one in the bag now in favor for Kizos, Rin, Hatui, AK or Google, as he's sometimes known, and Dazhan or Snowcow, as his account name is.
Blue team grabbed a capture point. Did you see that? Red team.
Alright guys, and the game is going to be coming to a close here right now, so once again, congratulations to my PvPness is huge. They'll be moving on. As for Celestials, they are going to be eliminated right here, right now, but we do thank them very much for participating in the Cup, and we hope to once again see them next week come back a little bit stronger. But guys, that is going to be it for this set. We are going to take about a 10-minute break. When we do return, we are going to be bringing you Blacklisted versus my PvPness is huge. So stick around, guys. We'll be back in just a few minutes with that set.